Good afternoon. Thank you very much for coming along. My name is Alex Marshall. Some of you have met me before, and I'm the independent chair of the new
ওদের স্বপ্ন পূরণে পাশে থাকতে পেরে আমরা গর্বিত
Bangladesh Cricket Board Integrity Unit. Some of you may have seen me on a video recently, and thank you for taking the time if you watched the video. And today I just want to explain how some of the preparations are going for BPL 12, which is coming up very shortly. So first I want to say we all have a combined responsibility. The new Integrity Unit, the Governing Council of the BPL, the Board of Bangladesh Cricket Board, all the team owners, coaches, managers, and all the players, and the media, to help us deliver a high quality and clean cricket tournament. The BPL should be one of the top franchise leagues in world cricket. It should attract the best players, and it should be developing players from Bangladesh moving through to that top level international cricket, etc. That's the type of event I have in my mind, and when I do my work, I always feel like I'm working for the cricket fans of Bangladesh. They are my customers. They want a high quality and clean event. So, working on the principle that prevention is always better than cure, several steps are being taken to make sure that this year's BPL is run well and is a clean event. We all have to accept there has been some negative history with the event, particularly in recent years, and one of the outcomes of that was the Independent Inquiry Committee, who last month handed me, through the President, a 900-page report that referenced 60 people as either witnesses or suspects. I'm going through that report with my new integrity team. The whole integrity unit is a new construct within BCB, and I'm very pleased with the early impression that my new colleagues have made. And we have two watchwords in the new integrity unit: professionalism and confidentiality. And unfortunately, there has been a history where live investigations and people who are suspects have been discussed externally, and those details have appeared in the media. And while I fully appreciate that a live investigation to do with breaching the anti-corruption code is a very interesting story, and you as journalists will always be looking for good stories that your readers want to read or watch on YouTube or whatever type of media you are. But for me, the process has to be confidential. And I'm very pleased that in the first few weeks of the new unit operating, none of the things we have been dealing with, and we've been dealing with a lot of things, none of the things we've been dealing with have appeared in the media. So far, we've kept to our watchwords of professionalism and confidentiality. So I want, as part of the prevention, is to learn from what's happened previously, and looking back at recent events, there are a couple of areas where things have not gone as they should have done. One of them is control of what's called the player and match officials area. You sometimes hear it shortened to PMOA, and that is the area where the players and the match officials and the coaches are protected during the match. They have to give away all their mobile phones. There can be no communication, no smartwatches, nothing when they are in the PMOA. So from the moment they arrive at the ground until the last ball has been bowled in the match, there should be no communications in the PMOA. There are a couple of exceptions, like a doctor might need a phone for a medical emergency. A media manager might need to carry a phone, but only use it for the purposes they're allowed. And the team manager might be able to have a phone, but they can only use it for team-related matters to do with that match. Not for social calls, not for anything else. And I can already see from my live investigations that the PMOA regulations were breached last year and in previous years. There was communication from inside the PMOA to people outside. That helps to facilitate breaches of the anti-corruption code, and it could lead to inside information being leaked to people who would use it for nefarious purposes. At this year's event, the PMOA regulations will be strictly enforced. No one will enter the players and match official area unless they have PMOA accreditation, and that's because you're a player or a match official or you are essential to running the match. Not because you're big or important or you hold a powerful position or you bully the security guard on the door. The only people allowed in are people who are players, match officials, and the people given PMOA accreditation. No phones will be used within the PMOA, and there will be no communication, and if anyone is caught breaching those rules, they will immediately be ejected and their accreditation will be removed for the rest of the BPL. This will be strictly enforced. There are other areas of the anti-corruption code, and I encourage everyone to have a look at the anti-corruption code. It's quite an interesting read. Have a look through it. It's got some interesting provisions in it, and it covers areas such as players must report if they receive a corrupt approach. They must report it immediately to the integrity unit, and they shouldn't discuss it with anyone else. They shouldn't discuss it with their family or the team manager or contacts in the media. They have to report it immediately. You must never give out inside information about the match that's going on. And then the most serious parts of the anti-corruption code are about contriving to fix cricket matches. So I know from looking at events around the world where they've gone wrong, where people are breaching the anti-corruption code, you will have certain clues. For example, the players who are breaching the code will give a signal. And the signal is to let the people who are betting on the match, the corruptors, know that the breach is going to take place. So the player, for example, might agree, if you see me bowl a wide on the second ball of the over, that's my signal. Or if I suddenly change my bat handle from yellow to pink, that is a signal. I know most of the signals that are used around the world. I know most of the words that are used around the world that imply there's been a breach of the anti-corruption code. So you are going to see a very rigorous enforcement of the code. You are going to see very strict adherence to the PMOA regulations. But be in no doubt, people who have managed to breach the anti-corruption code at the last few events will think, even today will think, they're going to be able to breach it again at this year's event. And I go back to where I started. We have a shared responsibility, media, anti-corruption integrity unit, board members, governing council, players, team owners and team management to ensure that these bad people do not get into our event. I'll make a final comment that I covered in my video. I have given advice to the governing council based on reading the 900-page report that some people should not be invited to this edition of the BPL. Some are players, some are not players. I've given that advice to try and prevent problems happening. Those people are not banned from cricket, they're just not invited to this event. The process of investigation takes many, many months. And the process is that witnesses have to give an account, suspects are interviewed, things like looking at mobile phones, looking at financial transactions. This all goes on during the investigation, usually takes several months. And at the end of that, if there is sufficient evidence to say that there was a breach of the anti-corruption code, then I will recommend that that person is charged. The moment they are charged, they will be named with simple information about what the charge is, and then they have a right to either say, yes, I did it, please can I agree a sanction with you, or I deny the breaches of the code and I want to go to a tribunal and I want to have my case heard. So that's the reason why you should never hear a discussion about a live investigation, and you'll never hear me name someone who is currently a suspect. I will only name someone when they've been charged, and I'll only give the detail of the case if and when they either plead guilty to the breaches of the code or a tribunal has found them guilty. And then you publish, the decision is published online so everyone can see the detail of it. Final point, I have a very good team now working who are going to help to protect this BPL, but we will also get assistance and expertise from the International Cricket Council Integrity Unit, who are used to dealing with exactly these issues all over the world, and they have committed to providing additional expertise to support my BCB-IU team for this event. So thank you very much for listening. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Integrity issue, how they fare. Few people are working from the out of sync. So how you will manage them?
Yeah, really good question. So when you look around the world where franchise tournaments go wrong, quite often it comes through having bad owners of teams who allow people in who then breach the anti-corruption code. So I am very interested. I mentioned owners as being amongst the people who need to ensure this event is clean and successful. They will all be looked at. Everyone who works for them will be looked at, and where the money is coming from will be looked at. I start with a positive view, which is the team owners are there to help deliver a safe event, and they've made an investment. But to back that up, next week, in the week leading up to the start of the tournament, I will be meeting personally, face to face, with every team owner, every team manager, every team captain, and all the key people. And I assure you, they will be left in no doubt that I want to work with them for a safe event, and what the consequences will be if through their ownership, bad people get at this event.
Yes, please.
My question is, crime is always a crime. Criminal is always a criminal. If a criminal is suspect regarding his criminal activities in a particular tournament, he could be involved with other tournaments as well. You have some suspects list of players who have been reduced or not the part of the BPL anymore, right? But the same information we have got from the BPL Governing Council that these players, they are available for playing the other domestic tournaments as well. Some cricketers who are suspect to be committed with crimes, they are out of the BPL, that is a domestic tournament of Bangladesh Cricket Board, but they can play, they are available to play the other domestic tournaments.
Yep.
How can you become sure that these criminals or suspect people, they will play a fair activity in the other tournaments? Who says?
And I understand why you're using the word criminal, and that's a really interesting word to use. In some countries, cricket corruption would be a crime for which you can go to prison. In other countries, so it's about half and half as you go around the world, there's no specific criminal law that covers corrupting sport. And I hope over the next few months to be able to work with the authorities in Bangladesh, who I hope will introduce criminal legislation that would indeed make people who did what you're describing criminal. But at the moment, within current Bangladesh criminal law, that's probably not the appropriate word. But I get your point. You're saying, if these people are bad, shouldn't they be banned from everything? And what I'll say is, having just received a 900-page report, I had to give advice to the Governing Council about the measures they could take to help to protect this event. In terms of anyone being banned from cricket, that is the process that I described, where if you receive a credible allegation, you speak to all the witnesses, you speak to the suspects, everyone is given a caution, everyone is interviewed. We might take mobile phones and examine them. We'll look for other evidence, we'll look for financial transactions, we'll put the whole case together, take several months, and then that goes to a tribunal who decide on the guilt or otherwise of the person accused. And it's only when they reach that point of either accepting their guilt or being found guilty by a tribunal that they can be banned from cricket.
To complete the whole process,
But when CCB created the draft for the players, that's when we found out that 9 players is the right approach, since you could have directly named these 9 players.
Yeah, I won't. No, and there are non-players as well who have not been invited. So it's not just about players. I'm not going to name them. It's an unusual situation where a 900-page report that has taken many months to compile, which is a very serious document full of important information, needs to be considered. I go back to what I said at the very beginning of this media event, which is I work for the people who watch cricket in Bangladesh, and I think any reasonable cricket fan would expect that 900-page report to be looked at, taken seriously, and any preventative measures that can be taken to prevent BPL should reasonably be taken. I can say no more at the moment about that.
Alex.
Thank you.
আমি আপনার কাছে কোশ্চেন বিপিএল গভর্নমেন্ট কাউন্সিলে বলা হয়েছিল যে এর সাথে বিসিবির অনেক কর্মকর্তা জড়িত আছে বা তাদের নাম আসছে এটা জড়িত নাম আসছে তদন্তে
লেট মি আনসার হ্যাঁ বল
সেটা হচ্ছে বিসিবির অনেক যারা বিপিএল এর সাথে জড়িত ছিল তাদের নামও অনেকে এই তদন্ত কমিটিতে আসছে এমনকি গণমাধ্যমের কথা বলা হয়েছিল সেই বিসিবির কর্মকর্তা যদি নাম আসে তারা কি পরবর্তী এই বিসিবির এর সাথে তারা অংশগ্রহণ করতে পারছেন কিনা বা তাদের বিরুদ্ধে কোনো নির্দেশনা আছে কিনা
আবার ক্লিয়ার করে বলছি এনিওয়ান যার কথা সেফটি আপাতত এটা একটা ইনভেস্টিগেশন এবং লিগ্যাল প্রসেস চলছে এইটি আপনার ক্লিয়ার করে দিচ্ছি আমরা যে এনিওয়ান ইনভলভড যেটা মিস্টার অ্যালেক্স মার্শাল থিংস অ্যাজ আ সেফটি মেজার ইনক্লুডিং ক্রিকেটার আপনারা খালি এই অকশন লিস্টে যেহেতু খালি ক্রিকেটারদের ইনভলভ করা থাকে সে কারণে ক্রিকেটারদেরটা নাম আপনারা বুঝতে পেরেছেন বাট এর বাইরেও নাম আছে এবং তারা কোনোভাবেই সেফটি মেজারের কারণে তারা ইনক্লুডেড থাকতে পারবে না
We have seen with several franchisee table in the auctions on the suspected people what they are calling players' name and forming the whole team as well, multiple teams.
What's suspect?
But how do you safeguard them? Did you have any conversation with them, or do you willing to talk to them, or
I can only talk
them getting into the BPL as well, because we have seen some of them managements are also formed by those persons also.
Down to them.
So there are non-players who have been disinvited, and I'm still looking at all the team structures and the management structures and who is involved. And if there are people who should not be taking part, they won't be taking part. But I've got to be careful what I say, because there are live investigations, and I'm not getting into the detail of any of those live investigations. If and when someone is charged with a breach of the anti-corruption code, they will be named and the detail of the charge will be published. So I wish I could give more of an answer, but it wouldn't be fair to people who might be accused to have the detail of the investigation shared.
But they already picked some of the players. They already formed the 11, 15, and the squad as well. They already picked the management as well. How do you get to those people? Because they are people around this.
What he's trying to say is that he believes that some similar suspects participated in the auction by participating in the team in picking the players.
Yeah. So I go back to something I said earlier. There are people who may well have got away with breaching the anti-corruption code at recent editions of the BPL. Those people will be targeting this event, probably still thinking they can get away with it. Me and my team, and with the help of the ICC, are taking a lot of actions to cut some of those people off and prevent them from doing it, and some people are going to have some unpleasant surprises between now and the start of the BPL. But I'm not going to start sharing the methodology that we use, but I will keep protecting the event. But be under no illusion, if people have succeeded recently and they weren't tackled at the time properly, they probably feel confident that they can keep going, okay? But I've been in sports anti-corruption for 8 years. I have prosecuted and charged and have banned more people in cricket than anybody else in the whole history of cricket. I know what I'm doing when I investigate allegations of corruption. They take a long time. I do it thoroughly. I do it properly. I follow all the correct procedures. When I get to a tribunal, I have something like a 98% success rate because I've done the homework, and when it goes before a tribunal, people are nearly always found guilty in my cases. There'll always be an exception, and that's absolutely fine. So it's a very good point. We have almost certainly not got rid of all of the problem, and there is still a problem to be dealt with.
Alex, are there any
আসলে আইসিসি যেভাবে তদন্তমূলক করে এটার সাথে কতটা সাদৃশ্য থাকে দেওয়া তার আগ পর্যন্ত কেউ জানে না, এবং ইভেন ওই প্লেয়ারের ফ্যামিলিও জানে না, এমনও হতে পারে এতটা সুরক্ষা নিয়ন্ত্রণ করে করা হয়। এখানে হচ্ছে যেটা সংবাদ সম্মেলন হচ্ছে প্লেয়ারের নাম আসছে।
He is asking that ICC maintains a certain level of confidentiality so that the other people, they are not aware about the ongoing investigation. But here we got to know that the accused list or who are involved, or a lot of people they got to know. So he's speaking about how would we relate with the standard of ICC investigation.
Because
করতে যাচ্ছি PMO এরিয়ার কথা যেটা বলা হলো, এখানে আমরা দেখি BPL খেলে যে দলটা জেতে বা বেস্ট পারফর্মার সে বাসায় গিয়ে ওই মনিটরিংটা কিভাবে হবে বা
Okay. And also at certain points, the players they have been, they are being allowed to go out of the hotel, not staying at the team hotel or going to his place or some other place during the right of the match when the tournament is going on. So how would you address that issue as well?
yeah, the players are not under lock and key when they're away from the cricket matches, and I've been at tournaments all over the world and international matches. The players go and play golf, they go to the shopping centre, whatever. These things happen. The hotel environment is very interesting because some of the breaches of the anti-corruption code are generated through casual conversations and informal meetings that take place in the hotel environment. So one of the things we'll be covering with the anti-corruption managers is we will have people in the hotels watching what is going on.
আচ্ছা, এটা হচ্ছে আপনারা জানেন যে যারা ফ্র্যাঞ্চাইজির জন্য অ্যাপ্লাই করেছেন গভর্নিং কাউন্সিলের কাছে, গভর্নিং কাউন্সিল ডিউ ডিলিজেন্স করে তাদেরকে ফ্র্যাঞ্চাইজি রাইটস অফার করা হয়েছে। অ্যাট দ্য সেম টাইম যে ডকুমেন্টসগুলো আছে ওইগুলো অ্যালেক্স মার্শালের কাছেও হস্তান্তর করা হয়েছে। হি হ্যাজ গন থ্রু ওই সমস্ত ডকুমেন্টস থেকে, এবং উনি কিন্তু অলরেডি কমিউনিকেট করেছেন যে আমি অনেককে বলেছি অ্যান্ড অলসো আই হ্যাভ দিস ইন মাই প্ল্যান। এখন বলবো না, রাইট টাইমে আমি বলবো they will not be part of this edition of BPL. Yes. So he knows what to do and he knows how to do. So সময় মতো উনি ওনার কাজ সম্পন্ন করবেন। জি, নেক্সট কোশ্চেন। জি জি,
প্রত্যেক বিপিএলে আমরা দেখি যে মানে এসইও মেম্বার যারা টিমগুলোর সঙ্গে থাকেন দে বেসিক্যালি পেইড বাই দ্যাট পার্টিকুলার ফ্র্যাঞ্চাইজি। এবার কি সেটার ব্যতিক্রম হবে?
I think you should answer that. So
Yeah, are the ACE going to be paid by...
yeah, exactly.
No.
In the past, it was paid by the relevant team, so
It
they
won't
have some
be.
kind of conflict of interest.
There will be no relationship, financial or support between individual franchises and anybody working for me in anti-corruption. There should be a separation. You can't become reliant or special friends with the franchise owners or management or even the players, because the next day you might be investigating them for a credible allegation of breaching the anti-corruption code.
So
there will be a separation. They will not be receiving finance or support from the individual franchises. And while I've got the floor,
সেটা আমাদের বোর্ডের ব্যাপার, তবে এরকম কোনো চিন্তা ভাবনা করবার আগে ফুল প্রসেস, লিগাল প্রসেসটা হ্যাজ টু এন্ড। পুরা লিগাল প্রসেসটা এন্ড হয়ে কে গিলটি, কিভাবে গিলটি, এই জিনিসগুলো যখন সামনে আসবে তখন আই এম শিওর তৎকালীন তখন যারা নীতি নির্ধারকরা থাকবেন উইদিন দ্য গভর্নিং কাউন্সিল অর দ্য বোর্ড, তারাই সিদ্ধান্ত নিতে পারবেন। আমি আপনাকে উত্তর দিয়ে দিয়েছি। আই থিঙ্ক ইউ আনসার।
Are we done?
আফটার দে আর গিলটি তখন বোর্ড ডিসাইড করবে হোয়াট টু ডু।
থ্যাংক ইউ।
So I just want to make a final comment. I said this in the video that I think a lot of people would have watched, and thank you for listening in my language. I am very grateful. I understand it's, I'm in Bangladesh, but I'm speaking in English. I respect that. I said in the video there might well be people who have information about previous breaches of the anti-corruption code who have not yet come forward. And that might include younger players or more vulnerable people in cricket who felt under pressure or threatened not to come forward and report approaches. Since that video went out, I'm very pleased to say that we've started to receive new information, and I'm even more pleased that no one in this room knows what that information is, because that shows the confidentiality. But my appeal to people who have previously been aware of breaches of the code or have received a corrupt approach, and I include in that young players, now is the time to come forward confidentially and come and talk to us. We will listen to you, we will take it seriously, and what you tell us will not appear in the media. Thank you very much for listening.